Hi there. Welcome to another podcast episode. Today is April 8th, 2024. It is another meaningful Monday. And here in the US, we've just experienced an astronomical phenomenon. It was the total solar eclipse of 2024. And I'm sure that a lot of you have already seen the phenomenon over the news. And we're not here to talk about the scientific background or details about it because we are not experts on that. But what really compelled me to put this episode up was because over the last couple of weeks, I've been targeted by a lot of brands, products, and companies putting their campaigns out that leverages this cultural moment, which is really very interesting. In today's world of marketing, the cultural moment marketing is something that a lot of brands have been capitalizing on. So I'd want to provide my tips, tricks, and checklist on how we as marketers can use this seamlessly and plan in such a way that it will be effective, efficient, meaningful, and most importantly, purposeful to our brand and our audience. Welcome to Meaningful Marketing, Mentoring, Mattering with me, Joseph Alcantara. Together, we'll uncover the power of purpose, experience mentorship magic, unpack ways to make a difference, and find transformative journeys as a community. All right, before we dive into the 10 things that we should do for a successful cultural moment marketing initiative, let me share with you first my favorite total eclipse marketing activations that I've seen over the last couple of weeks. My number 5 is McDonald's new space themed spin off restaurant, which they called Cosmax. They've launched it in Texas today, which is very strategic because Texas is part of the states where the solar eclipse is actually experienced. Number 4 for me is the snack brand's Moon Pies limited edition solar eclipse survival kit in chocolate, vanilla, and banana, with sun versus moon video and social media amplification, which if you haven't seen yet, you should, because it's quite funny. It's wrestling themed. It's a smackdown between two celestial orbs, which is really very entertaining as well. My number 3 is Blue Moon's Eclipse Sips Kits, which is, their typical beer, but it contains a glow in the dark commemorative merchandise and additives to make the beer glow. That for me is smart because you're still making your product front and center, and you just added something to make the experience more in line with the eclipse that the customers who will be buying the product will potentially be enjoying. Number 2 is the Days In by Wyndham Sweepstakes Day Package that allows 2 adventure-seeking friends to capture the total solar eclipse from a private helicopter following the path of the eclipse. And if you win this package, you will also have a lot of benefits from the hotel, a lot of great packages, which really makes the experience really meaningful. And number 1 for me is a partnership between Warby Parker and Delta Airline. So Warby Parker gave free ISO certified solar eclipse glasses that everyone will, of course, be using to view the phenomenon. And Delta Airline jumped onto that by providing the Warby Parker glasses at their Delta Sky clubs for those who would be flying today. And the Sky Miles members will be receiving 10% off Warby Parker glasses. So it's a great win-win connection between the two brands. So that for me is really super smart. All right, so those 5 examples we can consider as case studies for today's cultural moment marketing initiative. I'm sure that there'll be upcoming cultural moments that we can potentially leverage. And as marketers and brand owners, you would ask, how can I do that? What are the things to do so that we can stage and successfully launch something similar. So I'm going to give you my 10 must-dos for us to plan, stage, implement, and measure something similar. Number one is to do research and have a deep understanding of the cultural moment. Let's deeply research what it means, its significance, its timing, and the audience interest, and see how it connects with our brands or our business's audience. Let's identify our target audience in relation to the event. Let's understand the commonality or difference of our demographics, our psychographics, and our behavioral data. And let's also look at our competitors. Will they be doing something similar? Let's assess what their move would be, if they will be planning or will also be engaging in the event, and if it's worth, doing a friendly competition with them. And if they'll be doing something, it probably means that there's some sort of relevance to the category. So that will be a potential good sign. Number two is to do strategic planning. And in doing so, three things. One, let's set clear objectives. Let's define what we aim to achieve with this cultural moment campaign. Is it for brand awareness? Is it for engagement or talk value? It is for sales or for conversion? And then second is to align what the idea would be with our brand values. Let's ensure that the campaign would reflect our brand's core values and ethos for authenticity. We're not supposed to do something just for the sake of doing it. It should totally align with who we are and what we are as a brand and our personality as well. And then number three is, of course, there is a budget incorporated, or there's a price tag assigned to everything that we're going to do. So if it's an allocated budget that reflects the campaign's importance and potential ROI, then probably it's a go. But if it's unplanned, let's think twice and let's make sure that we do our number crunching to make sure that we can justify the plans when it comes to our KPIs. Number three is creative development. We need to have a creative concept. We need to develop a unique and engaging concept that ties our brand to this cultural moment meaningfully. It shouldn't just be, a word or a name or a color or, difference in packaging, because for me, honestly, it's a lazy way of doing cultural moment marketing. There has to be a really deep-seated connection to what we are truly offering. And then part of the creative development is actual content creation. We need to plan for a diverse set of content types. Gone are the days where you have one piece and you can just resize, copy, paste, and distribute that across all the media touch points. Let's make sure that we have our, say, for example, is it a video? Is it a blog? Is it a social media post that can really truly engage our defined segment of the audience where the effort would really resonate the most? And then lastly, on creating that creative, let's have that check on cultural sensitivity. Let's ensure that the campaign respects cultural norms and sentiments related to the event. Number four is the cross-channel integration. In relation to what I said earlier about the different creative pieces that will be out there, we should make sure that it's a multi-platform approach. Again, gone are the days that we'll only survive and thrive in a single piece of channel. It should be, for me, a mix of different channels. It should be fully omni-channel, from social media to email to website to offline to in real life. It's basically the peso: paid, earned, shared, and owned channels if they are relevant to the audience that you are aiming to engage with. And most importantly, there has to be a unified messaging. Ensuring that there's a consistent messaging across all the platforms, but tailoring the execution to fit our channel's unique format and audience. I'm not saying that we have to copy and paste the messaging across different touch points because it doesn't work that way. We need to make sure that we have the same theme or sentiment, but that's creatively expressed in different channels, in different platforms that resonate with the audience that will see the piece on that channel. Number 5 would be partnerships and collaborations. First, let's identify partners. Let's look for brands, influencers, or organizations that can amplify the campaign's reach and relevance, similar to what Warby Parker and Delta Airlines did. It's actually good if you can find like-minded or same or related industries or brands that can complement your campaign, because that way you can amplify better and probably potentially share costs that will make the process more efficient. And in doing the collaboration, the details should be clearly outlined, though. The roles, the expectations, and the goals for the partnerships should be put in place before hitting a go and launching the campaign. Number 6 is engagement and activation. One, there has to be interactive elements. We need to incorporate the talk value that will have a what's in it for me answer to our audience. Should it be a contest? Should it be a live event? Should it be a Q&A? Ultimately, you're not just there to put a piece that will just be viewed, but you should really engage and find ways to connect with the audience so that can amplify your message and they will feel that they are part of what you're doing. It's building the community and helping them to find ways to talk about your brand and create their own stories around that piece that you're trying to talk about. It's considering how the community will be involved so that your audience will actually lead their own campaigns directly, which for us is the meaning of what virality is truly all about. Number 7, legal and ethical considerations. On compliance, let's ensure that our campaign complies with all relevant laws, including advertising standards and intellectual property rights. Especially if we're staging global initiatives, there are differences from one country to another. There are cultural sensitivities from one region to another, one continent to another. So let's make sure that we do our proper checks and make sure that before we launch, all those factors have been considered. And ethical marketing. Avoid exploiting the cultural moment purely for profit. We should aim to contribute meaningfully to the conversation. That's what purposeful marketing is all about. Number 8 would be monitoring and adaptation. Let's have a real-time monitoring. Let's keep an eye on how the campaign is received, and let's be ready to adapt based on feedback. Especially in our social media channels, people can react, and our audience, especially if they're very engaged, will be right there and then say stuff. So let's make sure that we are doing our part in making sure that we are part of the conversation and we can find ways to shed more light, to educate properly, and to positively be part of the discussion. And on engagement response, plan for timely responses to audience interactions to maintain engagement and address any concerns. We know how the algorithm works. So we need to make sure that we leverage this opportunity, and also at the same time, we are directly, immediately responding to our fans, our advocates, and those people who are probably interested with our product. Number 9, evaluation and learning. Let's measure success. Let's use our predefined metrics to evaluate the campaign success against our objectives. And let's gather insights. Let's analyze what worked and what didn't for future campaigns, because benchmarking is important, and defining our own best practices for our own category or our own company or product is really very important so that we can gauge in the future if cultural moment marketing is something that we should be doing or not. Number 10, legacy and continuity. Let's do post-event engagement. Let's plan ways to continue the conversation with our audience after the event has passed. It shouldn't be one and done, because if we are truly authentic to why we did this cultural moment marketing, it means that we want the theme or the topic to be something that our brand should always be on top of. And on sustainability, let's consider the long term impact of the campaign on the community and the environment, or on the causes, or on the advocacy, or whatever it is that we are trying to influence, to whether change or to do certain actions for the betterment of whatever it is that we are advocating for. So I hope that the 10 steps that I've shared when it comes to assessing, planning, and implementing your cultural moment marketing is helpful. If you see a future cultural moment that will be a right fit for your brand, I want to wish you good luck, and hopefully you nail it when you do that campaign. If you have more comments, questions, or thoughts, feel free to reach out or write it down on the comment section if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're on a podcast platform, feel free to reach out to me via email, josephalcantara.meaningful@gmail, or DM me on my socials and on LinkedIn. And if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe on our channel and on this podcast. And we'll look forward to the next episode. Thank you so much.